Jaintia Hills once upon a time was under the Jaintiapur chieftainship. It was a vast territory that included many important villages and cultural centers in Jaintia Hills and some places in Sylhet district of Bangladesh. From Nartyang in the north to Jaintiapur in the south, the megalithic trail of the Jaintia king still survives through the years. Today, we are on a journey that will take us along the ancient trail, passing through important trading centers, marketplaces, and some fascinating landscapes of the War Jaintia area. We take a detour before reaching Jowai, soon crossing the bridge over the Mintadu River and headed further south on the highway to Amlarem. On reaching Tlumuvi, we stopped and got down beside the ancient stone bridge constructed by the Jaintia king. The waterfall some distance away was visible from the stone bridge, but at the moment what interested us more was the ancient megalithic structure built across the river.
We are on our way to Syndai and we just stopped by to show you one of these ancient bridges in Jaintia Hills. This was used by the Jaintia king. And looking at this bridge, it's a wonder how they managed to carry these massive colossal blocks of stone and put them here.
We started walking towards the east, following the gentle course of the Tlumuvi river as it meandered alongside the grassy meadow. A campsite for tourists was recently set up on the other side of the river, basically catering to adventurers and travelers who were more into trekking and the outdoors. The Peepee Falls was our first destination today, and it was about a half and an hour's walk from the Tlumuvi bridge. The surrounding landscape was a beautiful one with grassy hills and slopes amidst pine trees. It truly was an idyllic setting typical of a peaceful countryside. But as we proceeded, we found that portions of the land had been excavated for coal, and this was, so to speak, a ghastly sight. There were a number of coal mine open pits filled with water that looked dangerous as they were not fenced or covered to prevent any kind of untoward accidents.
It took us about half an hour to reach this place from the main road in Tlumuvi. This is the Tlumuvi river, And we have here behind me the Peepee Falls. To get to this place, it takes quite a long trek, but at the end of it all, this is what you get, a beautiful waterfall.
A bird's eye view of the Peepee Falls was an unparalleled one. The river plunges down the cliff into twin waterfalls, once near the coal mines and a second time a few meters downstream into the river pool below. It was a surreal scene straight out of an imaginary place found only in books and movies. Unfortunately, the extractive industry has poisoned the river and the landscape is gradually losing its charm as the digging and mining is continuing, causing irreparable damage. The road ahead passes Jarain village and soon enters the busy Amnarem market. At the junction, we take a left turn to reach our destination at Syndai village. Before entering the village, we move downhill to explore a few interesting sites that have historical significance and are potential tourism products. After the rains, the waterfalls rushing down the hill slopes are a refreshing sight. This is Betelnut Country, and the trees line up on both sides of the road for many kilometers. The relatively hot weather and high humidity is suitable for betelnut, which is one of the main source of livelihood for the villagers of Syndai. A few meters away, besides the road, there were some men and women sorting out the kwai of betelnut that have been moved from the pukri kwai or water tanks, putting them first in cane baskets and then packing them later in jute sacks. Most of the kwai is sold in Jowai, Dauki and Shillong. The betelnut economy of Syndai has sustained the villagers for many generations and will remain to do so for many more years to come. Our next stop was the ancient bathing pool of the king of Jaintiapur. Apparently, the king on his journey to and fro between Nartiang and Jaintiapur would stop at this particular place to have a bath. There are betelnut farmers who use this site as a thoroughfare while others are busy carrying on with their daily chores. Archaeological Survey of India has constructed a number of modern-day amenities in and around the bath. Some parts of the bath have survived vandalism and extreme weather conditions. The fact that the area around the bath belongs to individuals has made the maintenance of the heritage site a difficult one.
So we are right here in one of the ancient baths of the Jaintapur king. This was a long time back a place where the Jaintapur king, coming from Jaintapur, Bangladesh, used to rest here and have a bath here. And this is a kind of a megalithic bath because this was carved out from this single piece of rock. And you can see the elephant here, which is also part of the bath.
A look at the heritage pool reveals that not much maintenance is being carried out. The water is green and dirty and not fit for a dip, let alone a bath. Further down the trail are the old bridges which have been repaired. The trail too has been cemented, and on both sides there are cemented pillars with metal pipe railings. Nothing to suggest the antiquity of the trail, nor is it aesthetically appealing.
So I've come some distance away from the ancient bath, and this is one of the bridges built by the ancient Jaintia king. And this must have taken quite an effort to build this bridge, because as you can see, this is very primitive, and remnants, the blocks of stones that make up the bridge are still existing. And of course, some repair must have been done. If you look at the cement that has been used recently. But this is a joy to walk along this ancient bridge. So what you see here is a specimen of another bridge. It's along the same trail used by the Jaintapur king, and but this here reveals a very interesting story, because when you look at this bridge, it's got an arch, and among the Khasi Jaintias, the existence of arch bridges were not there. It was only after the British came to this part of the country that the arch bridges were made, constructed, and you can find them in the David Scott Trail and in other parts of the Khasi Jaintia Hills. But this was probably modified by the British over the ancient megalithic bridge.
Much needs to be done in the heritage site in Syndai, otherwise all will be lost. From the bridges we return to the main site and stumble upon some interesting stone representations which we are not too sure of their significance, except that our guide told us that they were symbols of the sun and the moon.
I'm amongst these beautiful ladies from Syndai village who are just taking a break and eating their lunch. And what we have here is one of the traditional dishes. This is jackfruit, which has been made fried in oil along with garlic and onions, and I'll take a sample of this and see what does it taste like. It's soft and juicy. It's really nice. This is a good veg item. And what we have here is these small fries which have been fried and mixed with onions. This is one of the traditional dishes here in Syndai. I'm going to take a sample of this too. It goes very well with the onions and with the rice.
After the tasting session, which left a pleasant aftertaste, we moved down the road to the bridge besides the dangeri or ficus tree. There were a series of waterfalls that flowed down the river all the way to Bangladesh, which was just a few kilometers away. Before the modern bridge was constructed, the Giant King's trail could be seen to cross the river, as there was a broken elephant stone figurine similar to the one at the bath that was lodged in the river. A view from above captured the wild and scenic landscape as well as the waterfalls of Syndai. Our next phase of the journey was to go on foot up the steps and find out for ourselves what lay ahead on the ancient megalithic trail. The steps, some of which are the original stones, are still intact and carpeted with moss, probably because the trail is not used regularly by the village people.
So after that 5 to 10 minutes climb up this ancient megalithic trail, we've come upon this kind of a shrine which features the Hindu god Ganesh, or in the form of an elephant, half human. And when you look at this sculpture, you can see the trunk, the head with this is the headgear, a kind of a headpiece. This is the trunk, and you have the two hands holding. This is still worshipped. People come here and pay their respects and worship this sculpture of Ganesh.
The ascent is not too steep and we were not too tired from the climb, but it was hot outside and that kind of made us perspire a lot. The village of Syndai sat on a ridge overlooking Bangladesh to the south and was surrounded by a lush green forest canopy that stretched for miles. One could even make out the trail from above as it cuts across the mountain. The Jaintepur part of Sylhet district in Bangladesh could be seen clearly from Syndai. It was a few kilometers away, and Muktapur on the Meghalaya side could also be seen from above. All the flat land in the south was at one point of time a part of the Jaintepur territory and its jurisdiction was under the Jaintia king. Along the trail we passed by a ficus tree which was the landmark of another heritage site situated close by. The ancient temple made of bricks stands alone and has not been taken care of by the looks of it. It has overgrown vegetation all around and trees on its roof, and much of the masonry has deteriorated. It's a beautiful old structure that has survived many years and remains as enigmatic as the Jaintia king's unchronicled, unwritten past. It's difficult for us to know more about the importance of the site, but we can assume that this trail and the structures along the way were constructed under the Jaintia king's rule, and it also shows that he had embraced Hinduism because of the religious icons. The architecture, although simple, is influenced by the Indian and Mughal style with panels of flower motifs embedded on some of the parts of the exterior wall and at the entrance.
Well, I'm inside this supposedly called temple, and if you look at the architecture here, since ancient times you have these compressed bricks, and this is a classic dome architecture which was initially made by the Mughals, and it's a marvelous piece of architecture because in the ancient times the Khasi and Jaintia has never had structures like this.
We have no information regarding the year that this structure was made, but it seemed to be a building made by highly skilled craftsmen, uncommon in these hills during that time and age. We left the temple wondering what would become of this heritage site without the proactive intervention of the community or the government to restore it for future generations. It will be a sad day to our community if we lose this structure at some point of time due to negligence and general apathy. The trail takes us through limestone country with bizarre rock formations amidst the subtropical forests. Our next stop was the famous Syndai cave not too far away. The cave is one of the highlights of today's visit and we were all geared up to see what it had in store for us.
So we are just in front of the famous Syndai caves, one of the most beautiful caves in Meghalaya. And we're going to go inside and explore what's there to see.
Inside the cave, the various limestone formations resembled a flower garden of different colors, shapes and sizes. The whole array of stone patterns and complex arrangement of the stone structures seem as though they were carved and sculpted by expert craftsmen. It was an amazing sight that had a lasting impression on my mind. The shapes, mostly floral in design, have evolved as a result of the action of water on the limestone through thousands of years. It is an alien world inside with full of surprises. It's only in the imagination that one can conjure such images which we saw in Syndai cave. Like the temple which we encountered earlier, Syndai cave too was not maintained. Apparently because the landowner did not allow any intervention by the stakeholders to upkeep the cave and look after it. It is a serious issue that if not resolved will leave our beautiful heritage sites at the mercy of a few individuals who may not wish to cooperate for selfish reasons.
So this is the highlight of Syndai cave, and this looks like a throne for a king to stand upon and talk to his subjects. This is indeed beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful caves I've ever seen here in the Khasi and Jaintia Hills. This is an amazing, surreal world, and the formations, the rock formations here are just amazing. This is a must visit for any traveler. So Syndai Cave has been a wonderful experience. This is by far one of the best day in the village, and we will go to the village now, and we look forward to some more stories, some more unique things to see and to hear and to experience in Syndai.
My parting thought as we left the site was a fervent hope that the Syndai cave, which is an asset of the tribe, is not neglected and ignored, but some kind of proactive action is taken soon by the authorities concerned. We finally made it to the village after the long trek and exploration. Syndai is quite a large settlement and has more than 150 houses. It falls under the Amlarem subdivision and block development office. The villagers depend their livelihood on horticulture, and the major crops are betelnut and broom grass. There are a number of schools which cater to the education of the children, and the literacy rate is quite high in the village. The village, because of its heritage and limestone caves, has lots of potential in ecotourism and heritage tourism. But there are a number of issues which need to be resolved internally to kickstart the process of marketing Syndai as a tourism destination. There is hope of an amicable solution. The people are friendly and interacted freely, telling us of their society and their lives.
Sebab suliang ini keren kendiat halor ka puli putih ini po Syndai ka longkum no kadai ki khep barat ki kena samla ki ding ki babe ka jupuli ne kumno
kumbalong menta te nadu ki kena adu samla ki labe ha ka dengan puli putih
te ha bai dai bat ka ki kam ki jampat hang ne bun ki bai tre ka kam yu hang ne po snong jopi
ki babun ni ki ya tre ya ka kam ban lejong ki babun barep kwai ki don ruk barep sensar ki don ruk ki barep tumpeu tang ba ki tumpeu urap de bakam per jum tun mar don jai jing pang tram ki ong te ne slim kum ta ha por ba dang re pa podang kam kuj klau ne ta si san ru speu snam te hadin nusa yap no namar ba don tau jing pang tram Tug nak ta ka daw tegi bubun ki rep kam sup ban rep daw kwai na maro kwai ram kam erta hi
te ha bai dai bat ka jinglong jing am ne ka ne ka snong jopi te ki e ta ki ba phi kwa ban kam kiu shu shu po snong jopi
kum ka snong la dai yolat tu la ka don ki jing kwa na kiu kam tam ha ka liang ka tourism na
ma don em ka kenja ken hon ne ka society ka ba pet ya ka tourism hang ne po snong jopi
ke kila don hina dong jengi ki na samla ki bela persang tang ba phi namar bandal le ya namar ba bat bor ki don di ni ki try klau ki ba jendar te kim sya iki kena samla bakin le te tang kui ki bagla persang ban le menta ke di tai ga pung sim man por sai di coach ki bahkan nong ga jakag ba coach di tenan te hamutau senam le te kila nang ya perkat bakin wat ruglat jingarap kenang bagi laban pentenat ban ya ketu jeka bakanan kringnya ginung jengkai.
The entrepreneurial spirit amongst the villagers in Syndai is an enduring one, and it is this very character of the community that will sustain its leap into the future.
Our visit to Syndai has been a wonderful experience. This is a village which has character, has heritage, has greenery and ecosystem that all of the residents here are proud of. But for me, the experience has been a kind of a purification process to purify my soul. And when you come to Syndai, you feel that purification and you feel rejuvenated.